improve.
Ooh, and looks like we're off.
That we are, both starting at Link's house, starting with 20 rupees. Not a bad start, because money could be key. They may have to buy bombs early.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like they're heading straight for the entrance portion of Hyrule Castle.
And Maniacal opts to go to the Giving Tree, but only getting magic, while Mafia just doesn't even want to deal with it.
Not a bad call, because sometimes you can get bombs from that.
Oh, but we have an early flute.
That is going to lead to some major movement choices early and often. Hopefully that's a sign that this seed's going to fly. Well, they're going to be doing a lot of flying. Magic Boomerang as well. And it looks like they're heading off to Sanctuary from here. And Sanctuary Chest has the Big Bomb expansion. So now it's 20 bombs maximum instead of 10.
Definitely
Not
something
bad
nice
for
to
early
have.
game.
Ooh, and we have a map check. Crystal
Number 6 at Desert.
Yep.
And it's pennant, and it's blue pennant at Eastern, red pennant at Hera. Looks like we're off to check Lumberjack Cave. Not a bad idea, because you could have a seed that's AGA 1 required just based off of what's there.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going for Giving Tree at this point. And we got a bug bush, and it's just spitting up its vanilla green rupees. Ideally, in the early game, you want them to spit up bombs, and that's just a piece of heart at Lumberjack Cave, so they're not going to need that. So that's one AGA 1 check off the board.
Sure, both runners are a little relieved right now.
Yep, that is definitely a relief, but if you know you have to do the AGA 1 climb, you know there's certain things you're going to need. You're going to need Master Sword. You're going to need the Lantern. You're also going to need Moon Pearl as well as boots. If that's the thing.
However, if Master Sword is not found, the Magic Cape is acceptable.
Absolutely. However, the Fighter Sword climb can be difficult. You're going to want some good gear. Oh, there's the mirror down the hole. Down that rabbit hole in the forest. I wonder if that's a hint that there's something on Spectacle Rock based off the fact that they have the flute and they have the mirror, which they can use to get to the top of Spectacle Rock.
Maybe we'll see Moon Pearl.
It's possible. You could also see Bow. You could also see Lantern there. I mean, while Lantern's not explicitly needed to beat the game if you know your Dark Rooms, if you don't know your Dark Rooms, then, ooh, I think we're going to see some block clipping. Now, I'm curious as to where Maniacal's going. Meanwhile, we got our first full heart found. Although that room looks a lot neater with all those blocks cleaned out.
Yeah.
Wonder if Maniacal's going for a hula hand to build up rupees for bombs.
And it looks like they are. So they will get that crisp 225 rupees.
But you can only get that once per game. Checking the back of the bar on Guido's side, and that's a rupee horde. Looks like Maniacal missed on the hula hand room on the first attempt. And he got it on the second attempt.
So once Maniacal goes to the back of the tavern, they'll be able to go check Zora.
Absolutely. Just going to do a save and quit and return to Kakariko Village to continue along the route. Oh, went for the Cuckoo clip and instead got the bomb, and we get a botch. And we do have a bit of a Cuckoo clip there, but it took 2 bombs. for a piece of art. Now, in open, finding one of the boomerangs is not a bad find early because you'll be able to stun a number of enemies and just go past them.
Bottle vendor having that quarter heart.
Not a bad find. At least he didn't get totally ripped off. Now for the bombable wall in Blind's old hideout. I think Maniacal just realized where those 300 rupees were. Oh, it's a single rupee. Game! Now that's just rude. Only place that Guido hasn't been is down the well. What's that, Lassie? Guido's down the well? $50 rupees to start. Now behind the bombable wall. 2 blue rupees and 2 recovery hearts. Oh, the hook shot! That is making a Death Mountain play even more enticing. With Bombos, hammer,
and more money.
So now, our runners will have 2 ways to go about getting up Death Mountain. As we have the Swag Duck National Anthem playing on both sides now.
Swag Duck Sync.
Yep, and a pretty big, good, long-standing high five. Although, to be fair, that's more of a hug than a high five. One thing that can be challenging in the early game is menuing, because you see a lot of items scattered about the menu, and yet you can't get to the items by moving the icon up or down. You have to use left or right.
Mm-hmm. Nothing of value on the bookcase.
Probably not the best thing to get, but you never know. Guido's going to check race without actually heading that way. It's a piece of heart, so that was definitely the right play. Some runners will opt to start the race and just not finish it if it's not going to be anything. Meanwhile, Guido's heading south. Based off what we've seen so far, I'm surprised by that, because I would have honestly gone straight up Death Mountain. Armchair quarterbacking aside. That's just me. So meanwhile, Maniacal's cleaning up the bottom of the well, and draining the moat only got a big 20, which is not what we were looking for there. Nice dodge on Guido's side. That arrow just about sniped him. Meanwhile, Maniacal's making the play for Death Mountain, and it looks like he's going to do Dark Room for the old man. Now this can be a bit dangerous without sword, but
it looks like they're using hookshot strats.
Yep, the hookshot visual cues can be very helpful. Also, using diagonal movements is key here, because that way you're constantly moving. And hopefully not falling down a hole, because that will cost a lot of time. Southern route has 20 rupees, bombs, single arrow. Full heart, 20 rupees. So nothing in Mini Moldorm Cave worth speaking of.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I was kind of hoping there'd be something good in Mini Moldorm Cave, just to so that the Death Mountain distraction or lure wasn't the best play.
Yeah, that would have made things interesting as well, and it looks as though Maniacal's through the Dark Room for 100 rupees.
So not super broken.
Question is, which way is he going to go first? It looks like he's dodging the dead rock. The incoming boulders. Uh-oh.
Oh, Mafia Guido with the low health.
2 hearts of damage, and Maniacal's running out of health. Oh! Gets sniped by the boulder.
Yeah.
And there was nothing of note in Ice Rod Cave, so Guido's doing a save and quit. Let's see where he goes from here.
Now, do you think they'll go to Death Mountain, or will they do a dip into Eastern Palace? But it actually looks like they're going to go to Death Mountain.
Yeah, Maniacal's giving the boulder route another try, which is not a bad play because sometimes the RNG of those falling boulders will just absolutely say no. And that does happen from time to time. You just have to grin and bear it when that happens.
Ooh, and the Moon Pearl on top of Spectacle Rock.
I had a hunch there was going to be something on Spectacle Rock. Ooh, and Blue Mail in Spectacle Rock Cave. That's almost too good to pass up. And that's exactly what Maniacal's doing. He's going right for it, and I can't blame him because that extra defense can come in handy, especially early.
Yeah, and when you have low health, too. Some seeds are super health intensive right at the beginning, so you get a lot of health buildup. But in this case, they only have 4 and 5 hearts.
Yeah, so seeds like this where you don't have a lot of health to start, getting an early blue mail is a big break. As we're seeing the hookshot strats unfold on Guido's side, Maniacal is going to be heading up to get the Moon Pearl. Will he be looking at the Dark World map while he's briefly in Dark World?
You know, as a viewer, I would really like to see a Dark World map, but as a runner, I don't think they're going to check. I think they're just going to keep going at all the overworld spots that they can go to, and then when they're out of options, they're going to be like, okay, where can I go?
And it looks like Maniacal's just heading for the mirror point. Can't blame him because looking now could prove to be a distraction. He's got the Moon Pearl, so that opens up Dark World options later. And it looks like he's heading right into Heron. Now, even as a pennant dungeon, there's still 2 non-dungeon items that you can pick up.
Hair is also very quick to do.
That too, however, if they run into a situation where it's a required basement, they're going to be out of luck because they don't have a fire source.
Yep. But there's the small key.
That's going to be a route to basement, so that is going to be the end of that Hera run. Turtle Rock's on the other side in the Dark World. Oops. So now we're heading to East Death Mountain.
Ooh, we had a very brief map check.
Didn't really get a good look at that. Chat, did you see what that was?
I was House of Darkness.
So we got a piece of heart at the end of Hookshot Cave. Now we're heading into Spiral Cave, which, without boots, is slow. However, having a hookshot is going to make clearing the enemies out trivial, because hookshot will take both the jellies and the mini moldworms down in one hit. And jelly electricity is not a concern.
Ooh, and we have in chat that Ice Palace was Green Pendant.
That's a bit worrisome because that could be an ice palace that they would have to go into. This is version 26, and version 26 is full of dirty, dirty tricks. Meanwhile, Mafia Guido skipped over Blue Mail. I'm debating that one because of his health situation, because one hit, and that's a death.
But they just took that death.
We're gonna call that one the commentator's curse and leave it at that.
Ooh, and there's Mitts on Maniacal's side, so that's Dark World access.
That it is, and with the items they've got, that is going to rule out having to do AGO 1 in its entirety. Now, if Titan's Mitt were here, then we'd have instant East Dark Death Mountain access.
That we would. But unfortunately, no Titan's mitts.
But we're loaded up on arrows. 2 packs of 10. Now, Maniacal's is going to be off to another destination. We're presuming Kakariko Village.
Ooh, but it looks like they're going to check the dam.
Well, it's not going to have a whole heck of a lot. In fact, it would make more sense to do this if they had to go into Swamp Palace. And from what we understand, that is a crystal dungeon. In fact, our runners actually have everything needed for Swamp Palace except for the flippers. This is Maniacal making a check of the southern and eastern Lake Hylia area. Unfortunately, it's not going to have a lot.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see a fake flippers glitch?
It's possible, but there are spots where you can certainly hurt yourself doing that, like one hit and fake flippers is a death, and if you have any fairies, you lose them. Learned that one the hard way. So meanwhile, Guido's making his way through East Death Mountain, heading up so he can head into, I'm presuming, Spiral Cave, unless he's going to check the end of Hookshot Cave. And it looks like Maniacal is setting up fake flippers, but he's a bit too far to the left, I think. Oh, it's very precise, the setup, as he gets it there on that attempt on the next screen over, because you can be just a pixel too far to the right or left and not get it, try to adjust, and you hit the screen transition, and that's a red potion on the island. Not a bad check to make, as he's heading right for Zora's domain. Well, not quite. It looks like he's heading for Waterfall
no.
Fairy. Oh, and he gets sniped right at the door!
That's very unfortunate.
That's brutal. That is absolutely brutal.
But it looks like... Oh, I guess they're not going to go right back.
Gonna check Ice Rod Cave. Not a bad idea. Guido's checking back of Escape. Pokes out the rodents with a hook shot. 20 rupees. Piece of heart. And Bloomerang. Not a lot unless you don't like your boomerang lagging the screen. Yeah, it's a Bible Pump version of the Mallow emote. Looks like Maniacal's making the play to Dark World.
Do you think they'll dip into Skull Woods first or Thieves Town?
That's an interesting call, because Skull Woods in this logic has been known to hold something important. However, that doesn't happen every seed. It's pretty much a coin flip as to whether it does or not, because the odds are like about in the 50s of that happening. Good movement with the hook shot, by the way, on Maniacal's side.
Ooh, it looks like we'll have a Shahashala check too. Ooh, and there's our
Full
first
heart,
sword.
first sword, and another full heart. So the health's coming along, but now we have a real good look, and we've got a lot of crystals in the Dark World. Although it is possible you could have a seed, however unlikely, you could have a seed where all the crystals are in the Dark World. Extremely unlikely, but it's a throwback to earlier versions of the logic in which the crystals and pendants weren't randomized between the Dark and Light World. And we're heading into Eastern.
Meanwhile, only 20 rupees a chest game.
That's disappointing. Now, it is possible to go into Thieves Town and beat Blind with the hammer. However, that's not an easy fight. Don't think I can blame him for checking out Thieves Town first. That's the big arrow boost on Maniacal's side. Meanwhile, Guido's having some trouble with the cannonballs, but gets through safely. The Sea House.
Ooh, boots.
The speed of this seed just increased considerably with that pickup.
We going zoom zoom.
Yep, we stepping on the gas now. Now I'm wondering if we're going to get anything interesting out of Eastern Palace, which has 3 non-dungeon items, versus the 4 non-dungeon items that you can get out of Thieves Town. Now, Thieves Town can also have some good stuff in it as well. Even as a pendant dungeon, because I've had seeds where I've had 3 unique non-dungeon items out of this dungeon.
Oh, but the bow.
Oh my, that means Guido's play for hoping that the bows in Eastern is unfortunately for him going to be in vain. He does have a sword though, so that might be a trade-off.
Ooh, and a bottle of red potion.
Not a bad find, because you now have the health backup against Blind, plus you can check Sick Kid afterwards, which our runners were not able to do on their first visit to Kakariko. And the Master Sword in Eastern Palace.
Ooh.
Now I'm starting to wonder who got made the better play here between going to Eastern and Thieves Town.
I'm going to have to say the Thieves Town play. Because it gives you the bow, you won't have to double dip into Eastern.
That, and he did get the boots as well. As Maniacal heads towards the Hell Run.
Having a little issue with it, though.
Yeah, I think the best play you can make in the Hell Run is going to be defense. Because you don't want to try and force things, because then you could wind up getting into a chain of getting 2-3 hits in a row, and that's not good. Looks like Guido's opting to... Oh, he's got the switch.
With the single green rupee.
Skylight's open. Guido is heading off to Link's house. Wonder if he's heading towards... Nope, he's heading south. Might be seeing a hype cave shortly.
And it looks to be the case.
Hopefully this is a hype cave that has a greater than 0 hype, because lately, unlike the past tournament where hype cave was generally almost always hype, the hype caves have, well, been caves of disappointment. And our stun drop for this seed is going to be 20 rupees. Which is not bad, especially if you're looking for money. The hype cave starts with a piece of heart.
Ooh, the lamp.
Ooh, the lamp. That's a good one.
And the book.
So definitely greater than 0 on the hype cave meter today.
Yeah, meanwhile, the chest in Blind's cell had a small key.
That's going to lead right to the big chest, as well as non-dungeon item number 3, which
Oh,
is
the vanilla gloves.
a Vanilla Titans mitt. That's hilarious, game. That opens up a number of possibilities.
Are we sure this seed's been randomized?
Sometimes I wonder when that starts to happen, like, not just Vanilla Titans, but yet another vanilla item in there, and you honestly have to scratch your head and wonder. Meanwhile, we've got a boss. And a pun. Is it a baker's
Fortunately,
shop that's a piece of cake, or is that just Falco taunting?
fortunately, the fight with Blind actually, it doesn't matter what weapon you have as long as you get off 9 hits.
That's true. However, the hammer fight can be tricky due to all the recoil as well as all the moving parts, especially in Phase 3, but he does have a red potion. And I don't blame him for using it either.
However, with Phase 3, the entire Blind fight is actually a script, so if you memorize the script, you can actually get through Blind very easily.
That is definitely something to practice on, that's for sure. And we have our first Crystal of the Seed. Meanwhile, Guido is heading out of the first part of desert, down to ledge, sees an arrow boost and is not interested, and Sick Kid has
The kid's got the
300
goods.
rupees. Sick Kid is loaded this seed. It's like Maniacal is heading into library to bonk the shelf. Or not. Got faked out on that one.
I don't think Maniacal actually checked this area.
Yeah, he definitely did not. Just a couple pieces of heart. Although if he were at 2 or 3, it might be worth the time investment, but not this time. He's off to 5, and he is heading to deal with Pod as well as Eastern. Does he know the dark rooms of both dungeons? I only know the dark rooms of Eastern itself.
I'm gonna guess that to open up Pod, but mirror into the light world to do Eastern, and then afterwards go do Pod.
That would be the safe play, because if you're able to set it up to where you can do both Pod and Eastern back to back, and they're both required, that saves a tremendous amount of time. Doesn't always work out like that, though, and looks like we got Master Sword strats on Guido's side.
Doing a pretty excellent job with Lammo. Ooh,
Yep,
Maniacal's
down.
Maniacal's about to get their first sword upgrade.
That he is, and we got Powder out of the Landmullas. That's interesting, because now that opens up a magic bat check. Not to mention turning anti-fairies into fairies, which can be very useful.
Now, Maniacal actually needs to be very careful when doing this light world to dark world transition, because if they actually enter on the wrong side, it can put them on the wrong side of the maze.
I honestly did not know that, because usually if I get stuck in the maze, I'm kicked back into light world. But the one thing to note about the Kiki the Monkey section that he was just completed, if you get hit while Kiki is following Link, Kiki runs away, and then Link would have to go and pick Kiki back up again, which would be costly in a time and money sense. Even though Eastern's a pennant, he's gonna be glad he stopped here, that's for sure. Guido's gone back to Kakariko, and it looks like we are about to have a magic bat check.
Wonder what Batman has for us.
That's a very good question, and we're about to find out. And Batman, for this seed, has for us...
Oh, just a big heart.
Full heart. Not bad. Especially considering he did not pick up the mail upgrade earlier.
That is true. I wonder if they're actually waiting to find the... Well, I guess it would be their first mail upgrade, but the second mail upgrade of the game, and then go back for that easy red mail.
So Maniacal gets the quick strat for Stall Children room. The movement for that room needed to pull that off is very precise, but if done correctly, you take out 2 enemies instead of 4, saving quite a healthy amount of time. Maniacal's got the Master Sword.
And it looks like they're going to do some dark rooms.
While Guido's in Hyrule Castle, not a bad play because this is open mode. You could have items trapped in locked up in here. Between here and escape, you could wind up with 5 non-dungeon items and some unique ones at that.
Now, if one of these 2 items down in an escape are the map, then we know that there will be an item in the dark room of the back half of escape.
Yep, but if they don't find that, then they can rule that out. Likewise, they also don't have a key for doors in that part of the game. And nobody's finishing off Eastern. Who knows what that third item will be, but we're not going to find that out anytime soon. Hopefully they won't have to go back, because that would be painful. So no small key, no map, and it's just a big key left. So Guido is making the correct play in bailing out. And with that first chest in pod being a full heart, since it's not a small key, the route now goes through the first Mimic room. Looks like Guido's going for fake flippers. Keeps tripping that transition inadvertently, though.
Yeah. But they get it.
Meanwhile, Maniacal lines up for a dash through the spike room rather nicely. Well, more like a conveyor spike room. Gets 2 small keys. The mirror's back to the start of the dungeon. Not a bad play. Meanwhile, Waterfall Fairy has a piece of heart and 20 rupees. Now, there's an interesting thing to note that we just saw on Guido's side. When the full heart was activated, there's an effect that if you complete a heart container, Link gets dunked back into the water, back into the fake flipper state, instead of the Jesus walk.
Ooh, we did not have a Zora's Ledge check.
That could be costly. I would always check that. Now, interesting thing to note about the Jesus Walk is that if you trip a piece of land, it ends, just like Guido just did. However, now he doesn't have to worry about taking damage because that property has been reset to normal. Chat's got a point. That heart thing can be very annoying when doing a fake flipper Jesus Walk into Waterfall Fairy. King Zora has a full heart when you have one more chest to get, because then you gotta go back outside and reset, which is annoying. Instead of a save and quit, as a Zora goes flying, that's an interesting note about the Zoras as they jump. Link strikes them with a sword, and they're gonna go airborne. And the ledge was just bombs. Okay, so missing that check is not nearly as costly as it could have been. Dark rooms hold 20 rupees. This next chest isn't right up against the wall. An empty bottle. So now we have a second empty bottle for Maniacal. Meanwhile, it looks like Guido's heading into Dark World. Now I gotta give credit for where Maniacal's going. We're about to have a pedestal check, folks.
Ooh, this will be very exciting. Do you think it'll be something important?
We're about to find out.
Ooh, but it's just a cape.
Now, that's interesting to me, and here's why. The way this logic is written does not intend on the player taking forced damage boosts. So we could see some interesting stuff, so to speak. However, these players may still take those damage boosts anyway. Thinking of Spike Cave, as well as a certain chest in Misery Mire, as well as Turtle Rock Laser Bridge. There's some possibilities here. However, if Bumper Cave has a required item, then we have a pedestal seed.
Oh.
That's the most intriguing part of this whole situation.
And it looks like Mafia Guido is not gonna go check Bumper Cave.
That is a surprising decision. Knowing with... And it looks like Guido's in... Maniacal takes a death in the dark room.
Quite unfortunate.
That is a tough dark room, and not one that... I can't blame him for backing out of the dungeon, because that's just tough, as we've got boots on Guido's side.
Michael needs to go check Hype Cave.
Yeah, we know that he has to check Hype Cave, but he does not know that, so he's just... It looks like he's heading right back for it to get back in the saddle.
Some say persistence is key.
There's two ways to go about this room. Now, chat just mentioned that you could use bombos to destroy the Dodongos. I believe they're called Kodongos in the Dark World. But if you have Ether Medallion, you can freeze them in place, which can also help give you good ideas to which way to go. Maybe that's why Maniacal's keeping them alive, so he knows where to go.
Meanwhile, Mafia Guido catches up on the bow.
Yeah, that could make... Palace of Darkness a priority. And we got a bunny beam. Interesting to note, the bunny beam can also be neutralized by using powder. And it looks like in those dark rooms, Maniacal found the Quake Medallion. And a piece of heart.
Now, I'm really hoping this big chest has something good.
Yeah, because he died going through that, and he's through the dark room just for the compass.
Oh, I'm sure they are not happy.
Yeah. That's just one you shake your head at and say, whatever, game.
But it looks like they're still gonna try and finish pod.
That's a gutsy play. There's some dark rooms that I know better than to mess with. In pod dark rooms, that's for another day. And seeing that he's out of potions, he's bailing. And I don't blame him one bit.
Especially that turtle room.
Yeah, that turtle room will lay a beating on you real fast. That's how my first attempt at pod dark rooms ended, by the way. Gets a health refill, and he's gonna load up on blue potions. Well, one blue Gatorade and one red Gatorade. Looks like he's going for it again, though.
Just hoping they check Hype Cave soon.
Yeah, this Book of Medora has left some pretty big hints out there. As we got an item dash. Might even be spin speed, but I'm better at triggering that with the hook shot myself. And for those wondering, every runner every so often does forget that they have boots. Happens to all of us. As Guido is working his way through Thieves Town. Also, a quick reminder and a quick shout out to our runners who are the real true stars of this race and this story here today. So if you're not following these runners, you really should be.
Please follow the runners. Please follow the Restreamer and the Tracker, S Diesel and Flaffy. Thank you guys for your help with this.
Absolutely. We're about to have a pretty loud rumbling in pod as the way forward is revealed.
I'm wondering if Maniacal is deliberately not trying to find the lamp with hopes that they can clear pod without it and get something good.
That's possible, as we got Titan's mitts on Guido's side.
So they're almost up to Maniacal with the item count.
I'll be curious to see where Guido heads from here, because if he heads for Bumper Cave, we could wind up seeing whether this seed is pedestal required or not.
Now, what do you want to see on Bumper Cave?
That's a very good question. If you could see something that's definitely required there, like at this point, the only real required items that could be there would be Flippers, Fire Rod, Cane of Samaria.
Or even Ice Rod.
Yeah, because you definitely need Ice Rod to beat this seed.
I think putting Ice Rod on Bumper Cave would be the worst, because that is just a big haha from the seed. to get
Yeah.
one item to beat one boss.
Yeah, because every so often you get a seed that just likes to troll. I'm watching as Maniacal works his way, trying to work his way against the turtles. He did take one out that I could see.
There's two.
There's three. Sometimes it's guesswork as to where, because you're using so many audio and visual cues to try and tell where the turtles are.
Ooh, and nothing of importance on Bumper Cave. Rest in peace, the dream.
Yeah, there goes the dream for now. Actually, for those that missed it, Cape is at Pedestal. Now we get a Bonk Rocks check. For 20 rupees. Red potion being used on Maniacal's side. Now he has to be careful with that hammer because you could inadvertently flip the turtles back over using that.
Let's see what's in King's Tomb.
You have to have the boots to get here.
Again with the 20 rupees.
Yeah, that's pretty much this logic's way of saying nice try, but not the right answer. As there are times where I would rate a seed 7.8 out of 10 for too many of those. Now we're in Graveyard Ledge.
Surely this has to be something better than 20 rupees.
Nope!
20
but
more
he picks
rupees.
it up anyway because if you need the rupees, then you might as well. And it looks like Maniacal has made it through the turtle room and is at the boss. Well done.
Let's hope this pays off.
Well, so far the RNG is not being cooperative with fireballs.
And unfortunately, with no silver arrows, they won't be able to one-shot the Helmsar King.
But he got him. With the tail extended animation as well. That's pretty cool. And it's just the map, though. However, the crystal is his. Meanwhile, Guido almost got caught by one of the townsfolk that'll signal a guard thinking Link really did something wrong. Chad has a point because now that he has one of the 5-6 crystals, if he were to go to Hype Cave now, he'd be able to go to Desert. And then he'd be able to check Pyramid Fairy.
That is true.
Looks like we might have a digging game. Yep, going for a digging game. Chat, pick a number between 1 and 30 to see how many digs it takes to get the item.
I'm going to guess 12.
17.
We're at 10.
12, 13, 15 is how it was before they randomized it between 1 and 30. And looks like neither one of us was right because it's going past 17. Bombs.
Meanwhile, Maniacal not getting much in the Misery Mire shed.
Yeah, so it was 27, closer to the max. So now let's see what Checkerboard Cave has. Piece of Heart.
It looks like Mafia is going to take the dwarf home.
Yep, the Dwarf Blacksmith. Heading home. And this sets up perfectly for the other side, for the Dark World side of this, where you can get Purple Chest and then proceed on. Now, he's not going to be able to finish Desert because of a lack of a fire source, and we got a jar of green goo from the blacksmiths. Well, to get the small key, and that's a vanilla small key, by the way. Now we're about to see some hammer pegs.
I think the hammer dash is such a cool animation.
It really is. It's a shame that that only happens in Japanese 1.0 version, because that would have been really fun to do in all the other versions.
Ooh,
Now,
the shovel.
a fetch quest item. Now, this is interesting, because on your way to delivering the chest down to the thief, assuming, because Guido's about to pick that up, now you can make a stop not only at Haunted Grove Ledge, but you can check both sides of Haunted Grove. This is actually going to save a bit of time compared to doing them both separately.
And with the book, we'll be able to have a Bombos tablet check.
Absolutely. Those tablets couldn't contain something important. I had a seed where a Bombos tablet had my Go Mode item.
Ooh. $20 more rupees.
Looks like we're about to have an Agony Cave check. And today's Agony Cave hold. While Stumpy is 300 rupees, 10 arrows at Agony Cave, and he almost mirrored without the purple chest following him. That would have been a disaster. Then you have to go back and get it. It's just 20 rupees, so he's back in Dark World without picking it up.
Lots of 20 rupees.
Yeah, that's pretty much the game's way of saying, nothing, not this time. And it's starting to look like we might get a hype cave on Maniacal side.
Oh, I really hope so. But they're going to get that lamp, and they're probably not going to be too happy.
Yep. Not sure what the reaction will be about the Book of Medora, though. It's a piece of heart for the purple chest. That's not bad.
Here's the Bombos tablet.
Out of all three of the tablet animations from the coins, rather medallions. Of course, I was thinking of what they're called at the pedestal. And he's blowing up the Keaton! Somebody call the cops because he is committing assault on a Keaton!
Yeah, I'm sure they're not too happy.
Quite frankly, I wouldn't be either. Not sure I'd go to that length, though. Fun fact, if you do that in Zelda 1, all of a sudden the torches start shooting fireballs at you.
Oh. However, Misery Mire was Bombos, so we have the needed medallion for that.
We could have a double dip Mire here. Just
That is
reading
true.
how the seed's going at this point, because you can't enter Turtle Rock without having Samari. It's just not possible.
Do you think we'll see Vanilla Cane?
That would be the ultimate troll. Then again, we've seen plenty of and played plenty of trolley seeds in this logic, but it looks like now we're going to see Desert Palace cleared first. And speaking of trolley item locations, try having Bo at Trinex.
Ooh, that's not nice.
Yeah, I've had a couple seeds like that and I was a little salty. But then again, who wouldn't be?
It looks like both runners are completing the other required crystal for the Pyramid Fairy, so we might see some Pyramid Fairy sync.
That'd be interesting to see what's there, and with how this seed is played out, I would not be surprised if one or two items needed to progress were there, and it looks like Maniacal bonked on the key dash attempt. And the window for that is pretty tight, and it depends on the pixel on where Link's standing. It's like every 4 pixels is my understanding of it. But with the equipment that Diesel has, Maniacal has, rather, he could go Master Sword or Bow strats. I don't blame him for Master Sword, though, because Landmillas can be tough to hit with the bow.
Especially using bow without silver arrows. Would probably take a good bit of time.
Yeah, silver arrows take out the Landmillas in 1 hit, whereas the Fire Rod is 2. But we don't have access to that yet.
And there's 2 out of the 3 Lambos. Ooh, and I stand corrected. There's 3 out of 3 down.
He's got powder, so maybe he'll have a look at Magic Bat. I mean, it's not going to get him anything required, but it can't hurt, especially considering that it's a full heart. And it's looking like some of the attempts to dash through those busted walls are not working on Guido's side. Is it maybe because he's dashing too close?
You know, I don't really know.
It's the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head. But it looks like Maniacal is heading to... Is he heading towards Fat Fairy at this point? Because I think he is. Or Pyramid Fairy. Pardon me. I think he forgot to split for the crystal. Yep, he's heading for Fat Fairy, Pyramid Fairy, and I can't blame him one bit.
Part of me really want something to be... The other knows that it's just going to be money arrows or heart containers.
Yeah, but you could still wind up with something very useful, such as half magic.
That is true. Or even silver arrows.
That would be our second vanilla of this seed. Although we could also see a sword upgrade there, which technically would be vanilla, because the way that it works in the vanilla game is that the 2 sword upgrades that you get between Pyramid Fairy and the blacksmiths is interchangeable, and that's 20 rupees over on the pyramid, so nothing major there.
But there's the last tablet, or the medallion, I mean.
With Ether Medallion, that means with all 3 medallions, there is no chance of being medallion blocked out of entering a dungeon. And that's a good thing. Now, something interesting to note, that if you have Quake, also by dropping a bomb or using hookshot, you can stun those beetles and get by. It's a little bit faster than swinging your sword and basically taking a heck of a lot of recoil from it. Looks like we might get a Bombos tablet. I don't know, where is he going this time? Maybe Catfish?
I don't know.
Be a bit far away, though.
They're kind of running out of options to check, though.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder I'm starting to wonder if Meyer's gonna be the right play here. Even knowing it's a possible double dip, it might be the play that has to be made at this point.
Yeah. I mean, they really need those flippers to do swamp.
Yeah, there's no getting into swamp without that. So now we're going to get a Stumpy check, which is going to be another Rupee Horde. And chat brings up a good point. Now that there's a fire source, Tower of Hera is back in play, which should only be for one item, but it could very easily be worth it. Plus, I honestly don't think either runner has checked Dark Death Mountain yet.
I don't believe so either.
Surprised by that. As now we've got Maniacal going for 27 digs. That is a very good strategy that Maniacal's using, moving up and down on a diagonal like that. Got a lot of digs in and very efficiently as well. Come to think of it, I don't think anybody's gone for Skull Woods yet.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
There are a number of number of locations that could have a lot of items that have gone unchecked to this point, much to my surprise, as well as the surprise of many others. And meanwhile, the Lost Blacksmith is getting a bit of a tour of what Hammer Pegs is like. And unlike Purple Chest, Blacksmith can enter the cave. So Maniacal's got the shovel. Jeez, why am I getting both these runners crossed up? Oy vey. I think I'll blame that on a long day at work. Yeah, so we got both rods, cane, and flippers still out there, and we need those items to beat this seed.
I'm wondering if flippers are in Skull Woods.
I'm starting to wonder if maybe flippers are also the go mode item in Turtle Rock. Hey, it's version 26 and it's happened before. I've had a few seeds that have done that to me, so it's definitely not outside the realm of possibility.
That does not sound like fun.
Nope. Makes me wonder if maybe the Gorons were having them developed so they could swim instead of sink like a rock? If a guess had to be made at that. Meanwhile, we have Guido taking on Helmasaur King. No, this isn't Deja Vu. Maniacal's gone this way before. Why is he going back this way? I'm not...
Maybe they had forgotten?
No, I think he's setting something up, but I can't say for sure what. So that's a water walking setup, apparently. Something tells me we're about to learn something new.
I don't think
Well, I'll be darned.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That's the first time I've seen that setup in that part of the map. Learn something new every day, they say. Now we are going to get a hobo check.
Fortunately, Hobo won't have flippers for us.
Yeah, that won't be, but Hobo will have 20 rupees. Now, you gotta be careful with this jump here because you can soft lock. In fact, I did that last night. Thankfully, it was off a save and quit, and he's in the transition perfectly, so no soft lock. Meanwhile, Guido is heading out of pod. Not even thinking of heading into Eastern for that third and final item.
I wonder if flippers are actually in Eastern.
That's also a possibility, too. There's a reason you don't...
Oh.
Second time!
Maniacal is not having a good time with that.
No, he's not. And I think he is moving on to something we have yet to see. Or we get totally faked out. And he's just gonna go up to Zora's domain the vanilla way, which unfortunately isn't gonna have what he needs. But at least it won't be... At least it'll be something. Just too bad it won't be what he's after. Chad has a point. When it comes to that particular Zora, you let that Zora fire first, dodge, and then make a play for the waterfall so you don't get sniped. Guido's checked and sees the big 20.
Guessing Maniacal forgot that they didn't have the flippers.
I think everybody's done that. Think of all the times you've entered into Swamp and tried to enter it without flippers. It's a really short trip. And the Zoras in this game are very good at leading their shots. You might not see it, but in terms of shot leading, oh yeah. They definitely know how to do it, and we're about to have a catfish check, I believe.
What do you think Catfish will hold?
Well, catfish holds Quake in the vanilla game. We know it can't be that. Judging by how this seed has gone, I would not be surprised at whatever catfish holds. It could be the Fire Rod. It could be Samaria. Could be anything at this point.
I think it's going to be a male upgrade.
That would not be a bad thing.
Oh, but it's a shield.
Not bad. All things considered, that is not bad. Because as the shields progress, you can eventually get the full-on mirror shield, which will block the beams that are on Turtle Rock's laser bridge. Meanwhile, Maniacal is already in Hyrule Castle.
I'm sure they're trying to check the last few locations that they can.
But we do have Guido heading for Dark Death Mountain. We're finally going to get a look at that. And Maniacal is heading deeper into Hyrule Castle. However, he's not going to find anything there.
Unfortunately not. It looks like we're going to have a Super Bunny cave check.
Yep, this is definitely a good place to check as soon as you hit Dark Death Mountain. Because you get 2 chests here, 4 in Hookshot Cave. So the way Hyrule Castle item counting works is this. You have 2 dungeon items. You have 2 dungeon items, a map, and a big key. Big key's always going to be at that guard. that's outside of Zelda's cell, and a small key. Once you have the small key in the map, you have 5 non-dungeon items that can be picked up. Meanwhile, we're in a hookshot cave. That's the sanctuary heart to start. Piece of heart. Big 20. And we finish it off with a bug catching net. Now, that's not the most thrilling find, but if you ever need to catch fairies and put them in a bottle, look no further. And something to note while dashing on that bridge where the Lionels lie, you will find that Master Sword will not work unless you're spinning. Takes Tempered Sword for damage. Now we got an Ether Tablet check. That has...
Ooh, that has a Tempered Sword.
Excellent find, indeed. Because
Definitely worth it.
Oh, absolutely, because that's going to make all the boss fights much easier, including the Ganon fight, because now you don't have to worry about spinning around like a top.
And I believe it's 24 hits to Ganon with the Master Sword.
Yep, per phase.
So definitely not fun to deal with.
Meanwhile, Guido is back in Hera. And I'm seeing a great point in chat. It looks like Maniacal is doing everything but Dark Death Mountain. And I'm really curious as to why that is.
That might be the way they practice.
Meanwhile, on Guido's side, we have a nice setup where you set the switch off while Link is on the blocks that are under it. And Link now has infinite iframes, so all those blocks are just flying at him. He's not taking any damage. Well, until you make an input move. So Guido's about to get the Hera Big Key. And from there, a mirror to begin the climb up Hera. Well, magic refill first. Yeah, so while Maniacal's avoiding of Dark Death Mountain is definitely questionable, the fact that it didn't yield anything major kind of works in his favor. However, there's still one more item to find over in Hera, so that whatever that item is, it could be a game changer. And it looks like Guido's setting up for a bomb jump to the chest, which isn't 100% necessary when you have the hook shot. And we got a mushroom. So another fetch quest item. Now, knowing what we know about the dungeon, between the big 20 in the basement and the mushroom that was just picked up, that's both items. Looks like we have Maniacal on Death Mountain setting up for Spin Dash. And he got it, but then he got hit. And getting hit cancels. So what could that mushroom lead to, I wonder?
I don't know. But it looks like we're going to have a spike cave check.
You might... Good thing he's got a potion, because otherwise this will hurt. That's something you can do here is hook shot onto the torches for some iframes and free movement.
Now, technically, Mafia Guido going into Spike Cave is a sequence break because the logic requires you to have either cane or cape to get the item in here.
And it was just bombs.
So nothing
that,
too
yeah,
important.
that play bombed.
But Maniacal is having a lot of issues with those dead rocks.
Yeah, the dead rocks at that part of Death Mountain can be extremely trolly, and short of powder, you can use Quake to actually clear them all out and transform them as if they got hit with powder. And it looks like Maniacal's gonna crack open did it again. Turtle Rock. Not gonna be able to go in, but opening it for now could save some time later. Now it looks like we are going to see Maniacal go through Dark Death Mountain, which is not going to produce anything major. Still going to produce a Tempered Sword if he checks the Ether Tablet. And we're in Skull Woods on Guido's side.
So either flippers or cane.
Could
need
also
to be
have a
here.
Vanilla Fire Rod.
It could.
We've already had Vanilla Titan's Mitt.
And there are the flippers.
Flippers in Skull Woods. The meme of going into Skull Woods for a valuable item lives on. That is really going to help. Excuse me. That's really going to help Guido out. No big key means that big chest is staying put. Now, interesting thing to note about Skull Woods, it is one of the dungeons that can have the boss holding the big key.
Because it's technically not required.
That is correct. They did not put a big key door in this dungeon.
Here's Maniacal getting their Tempered Sword.
That's a very big pickup. Now, interesting thing to note about items that stun enemies. The hook shot will not stun Gibdos. The boomerang will. This is a good mirror point after opening this chest. Small key, so our exploration in Skull Woods is done for now. But Flippers opens up Swamp Palace.
And Ice Palace.
That too, however, they're not going to be able to do anything with... Oh wait, they still can, but Bombos is quite costly.
That it is.
However, Bombos is preferred for the first phase of Cold Stare. At least to me, anyway. Still, short of having Canis Samaria, the way to go about this particular dungeon is a movement technique known as Ice Palace Bomb Jump. It's not easy to pull off by any stretch of the imagination, it's quite precise. But if you pull it off, you're taking an entire lap out of the dungeon, and if you don't have Canis Samaria, you can complete it without. Meanwhile, Maniacal's in Hera. Chat's got a point. Fire Rod's great for the dungeon. Bombos will take down is best at the shell. And while Fire Rod does make for an easier fight, when you get in the realm of having Tempered or Butter Sword, then you really could be utilizing the cape for defense. However, they won't have that this time around because it's behind pedestal. Guido may look like he's taking an extra transition there, but that's not a bad thing because the enemies heading south from where that teleporter is can be nasty. And we are set up for Swamp Palace, and we're about to have the mushroom get turned in. Be interesting to see what this is.
I'm kind of hoping it's Kane.
Fire Rod would be nice.
Oh, but it's more rupees.
And it's drugs for cash. The cops are on their way. Now, Swamp Palace, which Guido is now in, has the most potential for unique non-dungeon items at 6. However, it's also quite the long haul, so a go mode Swamp Palace is really nice, if you have a seed that allows for it.
It looks like we have Maniacal hopping into Misery Mire. Let's see what goodies are in there.
You can get 2 non-dungeon items there, and there have been a number of seeds in this logic that have required double dips into Mire. But if he's looking for flippers, he's made a wrong turn. Should have made that left turn into Skullwoods at Albuquerque. Now, the first room in Mire is always a combat-intensive room, as you have to clear out a number of enemies, including Wizrobes. Now, those who've played the first Zelda, as well as Link's Awakening, know how nasty the Wizrobes were in those games. Thankfully, not so much here, more of a nuisance than anything else. We've got item locations coming up on both sides. And a small key to start over on Maniacal. What do we got next? On Guido's side.
Just the compass.
Unfortunate, but it's okay. Now, there is another way that could be played, but the way Guido's going about it is a very good, safe play because this mitigates any risk of flooding the key. And that's something you don't want to do.
Definitely not.
Because in the vanilla game, that's a soft lock. Rando, you have to reset the dungeon by exiting and then scrolling one map square, either north, west, east, doesn't really matter. Because either way, we'll reset the dungeon, and we got an arrow boost in Mire. Now, the interesting part about Mire is that lighting the torches, there's going to be no quick strats heading towards where the big key is in the vanilla. And that full heart is unfortunately the second non-dungeon item.
So, no Vanilla Cane.
No Vanilla Cane. However, if you haven't found the big key, it would be questionable to leave, and I don't think he found it.
I don't believe so.
So that means he's right back on the big key hunt when he goes back there. That could be costly. But he's heading towards Skull Woods. That'll get him the flippers and put him on the trail for the silver arrows, which Guido just picked up.
Ooh. Very useful.
And we got a piece of heart filling a container as well on Guido's side. He's now up to 16 hearts.
However, Maniacal did make the right play, hopping into Skull Woods.
Not sure I would have taken that particular entrance, but it's alright. That's a good entrance to go into if you have the big key and are heading to big chest. That's a very good question from chat. From Skull Woods, will Maniacal go to Ice Palace or Swamp?
I would say Swamp, because it's a crystal, and Ice Palace being a pendant.
That's very true. However, Pendant Ice Palace, I've had seeds where that's popped up and turned out something was needed inside. I mean, for all we know, Cane of Samaria could either be in there or the green pendant item.
Yeah, but Maniacal leaving some angry slashes on those flippers.
We've got the big key now. Guido is heading off to continue the dungeon. No, it looks like he's heading back upstairs. Now, the reason he didn't take that other staircase is that it's glitched. In a way where Link doesn't exit it properly, and they might not know the way to get out of that. Which, once the animation finishes, just hold left or right on the D-pad.
There's the cane.
Cane is here!
That's very big.
Absolutely, because we have the power!
So all we really need for Go Mode is Ice and Fire Rod.
Now the two rods, the question is, where are they?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they're in Turtle Rock.
That would be rather dirty, but version 26 would not put it past this logic for that to happen. It looks like Argus is going to have the 6th and final non-dungeon item. Which, if you can hit the second phase with silvers, it's one and done.
Yeah, fortunately they have the Tempered Sword, so they won't have to be switching to Hammer like every other hit.
Yeah, thankfully, you only have to do that with Fighter's Sword. Which essentially makes it the DLC boss the menu. Now, if you hug the wall on the southern part of the room, Argus will not move as fast, and you'll be able to get a little bit more time to get some hits off on the enemies that surround it. And we're through phase 1. And it's the spin strategy.
No silvers.
But with the spin strategy, it's 2 spins and done. So now the question is this: do you go for Turtle Rock, thinking that you might have one or both rods there, or do you go for Ice Palace?
I would... You know, actually, that's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, well, now each play is going to have its pros and cons. Turtle Rock takes a bit of time to get up there. However, that could still pay off. However, the keys would have to be in Guido's favor, or both of our runners' favors, rather, for it to work, or that first chest has to be the Fire Rod. Otherwise, the play is a bust.
But it looks like both of us were wrong, so neither Ice nor Turtle Rock will be dipped into rather Misery Mire.
Yeah, unfortunately for Guido, he's not going to run into either necessary item that he needs, as the 2 non-dungeon items are an arrow boost and a full heart. However, we didn't see where the big key was.
We did not. I'm gonna guess that the big key is after the torch room.
We did see after the torch room.
Oh, we did.
On the first torch room, rather, the one with the spinning blocks. That was a no. However, we could still see a vanilla big key here. So now it looks like Maniacal's heading towards where the silver arrows are hidden, which is going to be a very good find, because silverless Ganon can be tough. Thankfully, we will not have to see that this seed unless our runners run out of arrows, which hopefully does not happen. Now, although stalled children can be annoying, they can be stunned if the hook shot is used. We are having some fun with the rupee counts here, while Guido's at 9.99, and Eichel at 6.54. He's got the silvers. Which way? Guido's heading back to check at least one other chest. If this is the big key, then this will be a very good play. Nope, that's the arrow expansion. As we are past the nearing the hour 32 mark. Quick reminder that if you're not following these runners, you really should, as they are the stars of this race.
They're both excellent runners.
Man, it looks like those bomb chew-like enemies, I can't think of their names, but I think of them like bomb chews because they drop bombs. They were giving Guido a bit of trouble, but he's made it past and now into the torch room that leads to the Vanilla Big Keys location. It's not a bad call that he's setting this up, because without Fire Rod, you can't shoot the fire through the blocks using the block glitch, so you have to do it in a bit of a slower method, but it works all the same. And now we have a can of Samaria on Maniacal's side.
At least they weren't angry with that chest.
True that.
There's the big key.
And it's a, oh my. When Maniacal sees that, oy vey. That is not, Maniacal's gonna be not pleased about that. Because he might have been gambling on Big Key being at the very last chest, but that is not going to be the case, unfortunately for him. Now, it looks like Guido's going to get some health back from the anti-fairy. Just going to lead to the big chest, which has the map. We've got Maniacal taking on Argus.
Gonna make quick work of Argus with that tempered sword.
True that, and I think chat's got a point. Mafia might have miscounted because he should have both non-dungeon items, assuming he got the heart container. Fortunately, Argus landed right on Maniacal, so Maniacal had to recharge the spin as Guido is heading towards Vitreous.
Hopefully they'll employ those silver arrow strats.
Makes the Vitreous fight 1,000 times easier at the minimum. Because a Vitreous fight can be miserable otherwise. Right now, it looks like Maniacal's gonna make a play on Ice Palace.
Curious as what Ice Palace has.
Because it's the dungeon that has the Pennant of Courage, so there could be an extra item involved in it. In addition to the 3 non-dungeon items that are here. It's a bold play, that's for sure. And if it pays off, then that could be a deciding factor. Meanwhile, Vitreous just goes down so quick with the silver arrows. Guido's already got the boss down.
And the one cycle Vitreous.
Now, Hookshot's a great... Oh, there's the Fire Rod! It was in Ice Palace!
Ooh. Now, with Maniacal dipping out so early, that might actually hurt them.
That could hurt because there's still 2 potential items hidden inside Ice Palace. Yes, it's a long dungeon, but at this point, it's almost worth it. However, picking up Fire Rod leads straight to Skull Woods, and he is on his way to take on Mothula. Which is not a fun boss to go against.
Not at all.
It's like Guido's heading for dropping off the mushroom, which is going to lead to a drug sale. Chat's got a point. That was early enough in Ice Palace to where it's not going to be as painful as, say, leaving it like B5 or something like that. Yeah, with how this seed is played out, I wouldn't put it past either runner to think that they were behind. Heck, at this point, I'd be thinking that too.
Especially finding Flippers so late.
Not just finding Flippers late, but Cane of Samaria late, and now the Fire Rod. Which Guido's on his way to finding.
So it looks like our go mode item is the Ice Rod.
So now the question is, do we have an Ice Rod in Turtle Rock situation? Because if you're heading to Turtle Rock on an item check, you check Mimic Cave as well.
Yeah, you gotta check every location.
Yeah, because a location left unturned can be very costly. At this late point in the game, health is not a concern against Mothula as much as the fight's RNG possibly just not being nice.
But they do have Tempered Sword.
And in the case of Maniacal, Blue Mail, which is going to work in his favor versus not having it. This fight can be very tough, and Moth is down.
Let's see what Mothula has. Ooh, the big key.
Now that's very intriguing because there's one item left. I don't think the first chest in that last area was looked at, so that could have an item. It could also be big chest. Interesting. Both runners bailing on Ice Palace early. I don't think I can blame him. If you're thinking you're behind, you push the envelope, and he's going to check pedestal, see that magic cape is there. However, that's not really going to be required in this seed. And now we have another Skull Woods and a potential high 5 coming up as well.
Ooh.
So it looks like Maniacal's checking the first chest in the last area, or rather I should say the one chest in the last area. Doesn't take long to check this chest, so it's not a bad play, while getting bunny beamed hurts. And if you don't have mirror, this is also a good spot to death warp, but it's a compass. So big chest it is. Be interesting to see what's there. Is it the ice rod? Is it half magic? Is it something else? Who knows? However, one thing you can do is use Cane of Samaria to skip having to do an entire section of statue pushing.
Yep.
So it really is the big chest this time. But is it the big chest that triggers go mode?
Ooh.
We're about to find out. Now there is a way to walk along that without having to hit the switch to change over the hole's location. And that's
just
a shield.
Yeah, not go mode, unfortunately.
However, we do know that that's going to be the fire shield for Guido. So now it looks like we might have the ice rod at Turtle Rock? Possibly. Meanwhile, Guido's almost at Mothula. Now, how tough could it be to get Ice Rod if it is indeed on the laser bridge? Because we don't have Cane of Burna. Don't have any way of getting away from those beams outside of some excellent movement, which I know is possible.
I'm gonna guess that the mirror shield will also be in Turtle Rock.
Because we're about to have a fire shield on Maniacal's side. As Mothula gets roasted on Guido's side.
And it has been pointed out in chat that they technically do have access to the cape.
True that. They would have to clear Hera, Eastern, and Ice Palace in order to get that access, though. And one of those dungeons is rather unpleasant.
Yeah. But it looks like Maniacal finally gets to check Waterfall Ferry.
Might be relieved to see that he didn't miss a lot, if I were to guess. And it looks like we are going to have a play on Turtle Rock. Now this first section heading towards the Cabbage Patch Kids. Well, the Cabbage Patch Kids behaved today. And it's a surprise he has not cleared Mire yet.
Yeah,
this
it's a little.
Could be costly.
It's also kind of out of the way because you'll have to leave Turtle Rock, go all the way back to Mire, and then head all the way back up Death Mountain again.
Yeah, and that is very time consuming, which is why I have a Turtle Rock last type of mentality. Because if it can be helped, because Turtle Rock's right there. You clear that one last, you're just literally hop, skip, and a jump away from Ganon's tower. This could be a major routing mistake. Guido's also making the same play. So if Ice Rod is here, Guido hits go mode with 1 crystal left versus the 2 that Maniacal would have left. This could be a disaster for Maniacal.
Yeah.
We start with a small key. That's an excellent point by chat. One way to think about it is T-Rock before the last, before you get to do it as your last, is if you get your last item for entering while checking Death Mountain, or if you're out of options. Like I had a seed last night where I could have done Turtle Rock, not last. I gambled on Overworld and turned out to be right. So let's see what these 2 chests have. Big key.
And the
And
ice
the
rod.
ice rod. That is go mode, but unfortunately for Maniacal, that is also going to put him at a huge disadvantage because he has to go back to Mire to finish that and then come back. This literally puts Guido in the hole shot to finish this seed with the win. Guido doesn't know that yet, but he's about to take a humongous lead very early in Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Maniacal's having some serious issues getting to that door.
He's got enemies giving him the business. I mean, he's got a jelly that's trolled him. He's also gotten trolled by Stall Child, Skull. Not the best of times. However, this is not over yet. Anything could still happen between now and the dot done. The Maniacal's on his way downstairs.
So it looks like both runners made the right call, leaving Ice Palace after that first item.
Very true, and that's a play that takes guts, even when it's that early, because a play like that could be costly. However, in this case, it was not. So we will have a guaranteed race-off if Guido wins. However, it won't be a 5-way race-off.
I have never heard of a 5-way race.
Well, it would be an interesting scenario in which all 5 racers from a group would race for both slots in the next round. I think Maniacal has mismarked his tracker very badly here. He has himself marked as having Crystal 6 done, but he clearly only has 5.
That is very unfortunate.
That is probably why he went to Turtle Rock when he did.
Oh no. That mistake is more than that is going to set them very far back.
That could very easily be that which decides this race. It is very unfortunate to see a missed track on your own side cause you to head the wrong way. And I mean, it does happen. It's just very unfortunate that it's happened here at this stage.
So Flaffy, Maniacal is using a tracker of their like on their own stream, and on their stream they have themselves marked as having Misery Mire done. But when we look in their inventory, we realize, oh no, Misery Mire is actually not done on their tracker.
Yeah, but on his split, he clearly has Crystal 6 marked in the split, even though he hasn't finished it.
Oh.
That's... Now, how's he gonna pull this off? Oh, he's gonna dash at it. That's clever. That's very clever. I wouldn't have thought of that, to be honest. He's closing in on Trinex.
Yeah.
And a very creative way of using Cane of Samari to get through that room quickly. We have our first Trinex fight. Yeah, the way I view Randomizer, and this is just me, and this is just my opinion, and nobody, I mean, everybody's gonna have their opinion when it comes to these things, but the way I see it is that there's only one split that really matters in a rando. That's the one at the end. Well, that and the dot done on the IRC.
Yeah.
We're through Trinex Phase 1. Phase 2, done as well. So Trinex is down, but now he's got to scramble back to Misery Mire, get the key, which he left early, and then rush back. I don't know if he's going to have enough time, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he now... This is going to be... This is dicey. It's going to take a very good Gannis Tower. Like, this could come down to... I mean, it would have to be a right-left gamble at this point that he would guess right and Guido guesses wrong on, or something insane. I mean, we've had some insane stuff happen. Like, we almost had a comeback in one race that I called because of a fall at Ganon, but... Well, I do like what Guido's doing here in terms of the safety cave. Because now if you die, you're just right there on the laser bridge. It's also a good safety for Trinex. It's also a crafty way of going about it. Just going to use Mirror to get away from that.
Ooh, but they fell.
Yeah, the Beetle Recoil can do that to you. Uh-oh, Fell trying to set up.
And it looks like they're going to... I actually don't know where they're going to go.
This is a cave that has 2 fairies on the next floor below. The pots have 5 rupees each, but most importantly are the 2 fairies.
Oh, I did not know
them
about this.
a lot of health.
That is actually very convenient.
It is. It's not too far out of the way, and you're able to get right back into Turtle Rock. Now, while taking the death might have been faster, in this regard, he got more health out of it. Well, I'd understand. And he's got the key, and he just gives a thumbs up to the camera because I think he knows where he goofed up, and there's a laser bridge death.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But he's right there, which is probably the one benefit. And he's been sniped off the bridge. Oh my goodness, what are we witnessing here?
Ooh, and there's death too.
And he was he was almost at the right chest as well. Could that decision not to get blue mail come back to haunt Guido?
Guido might have actually practiced having green mail.
That's possible, and he takes a headshot. Ouch.
Not good.
₹20, just mirrors to preserve health. And he's got it.
Very nicely done.
Although he could have easily taken another death there to get some health back, which is definitely a valid play, but it looks like he's going to try and get that health back with some anti-fairies. Yeah, that's a place where I probably would have taken the death as well, but that's just me. And and we're going to have Guido knocking out, or coming, he's now in the Vitreous fight before Guido's at Trinex.
That laser bridge really took a lot of time.
Yeah, Laser Bridge turned out to be an equalizer.
So it all comes down to who has a better Ganon's tower.
Yeah, this has turned out to be a lot closer than I anticipated when we compared to when the runners hit go mode. And that is true. Maniacal does have to climb back up Death Mountain. However, he's not going to be nearly as far behind as I thought he would be. Okay, chat. A number between 1 and 22 for Ganon's big key. And name of room is acceptable as well.
Leslie, where do you think the big key will be?
I'm going to take an interesting pick here, and I'm going to pick Rando Room this time.
Rando Room, that's interesting. I'm going to go with chest number 2 on the right side.
That would be interesting, because it's never a bad idea to check those 2 chests first. Because if that's the case, it would be a very quick Ganon's tower. Those Lionels can be scary. They're even worse than the first game. That and Breath of the Wild. And it is definitely, now we hit an execution gauntlet. Any flaws in execution, and we could see a lead change very quickly. But what it also could come down to is green mail versus blue mail.
Yeah, that's definitely going to play a really big difference.
Those first 2 chests on the right side does produce a small key. And he's not going to make a play on the right side. Guido's just going to mirror back to the start of the dungeon and proceed on with the other side of Ganon's tower.
I think they're both going to do the standard V26 Ganon's tower route with the 2 right chests and then the left side gamble.
Yeah, the left side play definitely has a chance at more chests. Now the right side, he's going straight left.
Oh.
All things considered, I do not blame Maniacal whatsoever. He'll still get 2 keys out of this, so if Big Key winds up being in the turret room, he won't be that far behind. And we got the mirror shield. And a high five. Now, if you're having those those stall children troll you, and Cane of Burna is up ahead, but as I was saying, you stall children trolling you, just busts out a ether medallion, just blows them away. For those wondering, the magic cape was at pedestal. Yeah, not a play I would have made, honestly. And just before Rando Room is a no, and we are coming up on Rando Room. With all items present and accounted for. Outside of Buttersword, we head to Rando Room. Compass. Big rupee. 2 rupee hordes. We just raided Ganon's vault, own personal vault.
Ooh, no one tell Ganon.
Well, you can't take the money with you, though. Certainly was a rupee room, that's for sure.
Do you think we'll see the big key in the tile room?
Have we seen that yet this tournament?
I don't know.
Meanwhile, Guido's having some trouble navigating through the holes room, and that allows Maniacal to pull ahead. Now we're at Bob Room. Say hi, Bob. Bye, Bob.
Oh, but there's half magic.
Excellent. Now they could have used that so much earlier, but anytime you find half magic in a seed is an excellent find.
Mafia accidentally lifted up the second skull. Not being able to bonk off that, but they get the bomb jump.
Yeah, that's a good backup strategy to know. Meanwhile, Ice Armos are down. For 2 pieces of heart, brings them up to... And it's a right side play that would have been it.
Ooh, we do have someone in chat saying that there has been a big key in the tile room, and they actually linked us a clip, so thank you for that clip, Flappy.
Oh, wow, that is a 1 in 22 chance, and that's a very dirty roll. Now the question is, do you gamble on tile room, knowing that you're better off dodging? Oh, nope, he's not even gambling on tile room before I can even finish that thought. Because if you do gamble on tile room, you're basically just standing there waiting and dodging the blocks, because swinging the sword will cause the turrets to fire, and if enough fireballs get on screen, you generate lag. So the 2 Gibdo are barbecued. That last one won't be in the way, so just bypass it. 5 rupees. 10 arrows. There it is! It is in the warp room on the right side.
Ooh, what chest number was that?
That would have been number 20.
Ooh. Did anyone guess 20?
I generally don't guess that high. There's only a certain amount of schadenfreude that I can handle. Although a right side gamble would have paid off big time. And speaking of gambles, looks like we have a tile room attempt by Guido. He's gambling on that, which unfortunately is not going to pay off. But it'll be interesting to see what this turns out to be. Oh, if Butter's in tile room, then we have Butter versus Tempered.
That could be all the difference.
Well, all things considered with this seed, I would be feeling behind.
Ooh, but it's a 5 arrow capacity upgrade.
Even so, anything can happen. A death or a soft lock in Ganon's tower could be a very big game changer. I can't blame Guido for clearing out all the enemies that will be in the way, because they will get in the way and they can be trolly. Meanwhile, we got a gauntlet.
Yep.
Now, if you get grabbed by the Wall Master, you're taken back to the beginning of the dungeon, and that is not something you want to have happen at this point. Now, those BMOs can really put you into some bad spots. Got Guido using bomb strats here. Now, the timing for that's really tight, so Cane of Samaria is the way to go. And we almost have a 1 cycle on Landmula 2. But a 2 cycle is excellent.
Maniacal's having a very good Ganon's Tower run.
That he is. And he definitely needed it, especially after he made the play on Turtle Rock, then backtracking to Mire. I thought this race was done at that point. I should have thought better of that notion.
Oh, and Mafia Guido misses one chest. The one chest that actually had the big key.
Oh my goodness, that is just painful. If you want to talk about a not like this moment, we just definitely had a not like this moment.
That just...
That just feels like somebody just walk up and just clobbered you without warning and a sucker punch.
When they go back to that room and realize that they missed it, I'm sure they are not going to be happy.
Yep. That is when I start kicking myself, for lack of better terminology. Well, to put it that way. Yeah, that is definitely worse than Wallmaster, and it's the only chest, so you know the mistake that's been made. This is gonna hurt.
Here we're at Moldorm 2.
Now, it's a slash and a spin with a tempered sword. However, dashing is not going... will also work, because you can just dash through the boss and not take damage.
Will Maniacal check the validation chest? Let's see.
I'd blame him if he didn't,
Ooh,
but it turned out to be the map.
On the bright side is, we know where all the floors are now.
Yeah, but we really don't need that information at this point. And would I blame anybody for tilting in Mafia's situation? Absolutely not. I'd be tilted. And we got a blue ball. Now, blue ball RNG can be pretty nasty at times.
Ooh, and the triple.
And a triple to finish off Aghanim 2. And a quick swig of water.
Very nicely done.
Mafia's on his way up the tower. But just knowing how this went down is just... just feels awful.
I think forgetting the big key kind of just put the nail in the coffin right there.
It really did. And we're asking about burritos, and now I'm getting hungry. It means I'm going to be getting a snack afterwards for sure. We are in the Ganon fight. The tempered sword, it's just swing away.
Equipped with half magic and silver arrows, this fight will be a breeze for both runners.
Yeah, and there's different strategies you can use in phase 2, like the hook shot just to get away, fire it as a torch. You also have the iframes while using that. Well, not necessarily. Butter could also have been the last item in Eastern.
That is true.
But we don't know that, and I don't think we're going to know that. And it looks like we're getting some very trolly Ganon RNG. Now, the one thing you don't want to happen at this point, if you're Maniacal, is you don't want to get knocked off the platform, and you certainly don't want to get drivered. Yeah, this is a pretty rough Ganon RNG pattern that's taking up a bit of time. Okay, at least one part of Ganon's fight did not involve all that. And yes, we found the arrows in Swamp Palace. Got the torch glitch.
And let's see if we go for the double. Ooh, we don't.
Yeah, I don't think he had the position for that. He certainly didn't have it on that hit. He might go for the double to finish him off. Not on this hit.
And there we go. Maniacal finishes in first place with a time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 58 seconds.
Excellent job on the win. That was an excellent job on the win. It looked like he was very far behind at that one point, and now he's pulled off the win.
So another thing to note, because Mafia powdered that anti-fairy or the bunny, that actually changes the initial positioning of Lamolus.
Oh, really? That's a detail I did not know.
And it looks like we will be joined by Maniacal very shortly for an interview.
As meanwhile, Guido continues his climb and sets up for floor 5. Bit of trouble with that second Wizrobe room, but he's through.
Taking advantage of the left side, fast side.
Yep, but those red moblins can be mean.
Oh, Mafia Guido just broke his controller.
Oh, dear.
So
That is gonna cause a wrap as Mafia Guido has forfeited race.
that is very unfortunate. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Absolutely, that's something you don't want to hear happening, or That's just very unfortunate.
Rest in peace, controller. But we are actually joined by Maniacal right now. Congratulations on the win.
Oh, thank you. I felt so far behind. I hope you can hear me.
Yep.
Oh, we can hear you very well.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, sometimes my mic hates Discord, and so when I haven't tested it, I always have to check right away. But thank you. I felt so behind that whole time. That was a struggle, and it looks like Mafia Guido had a controller failure, which is really unfortunate. I hope that it wasn't like a rage break. I hope it was just like a malfunction and it can be fixed.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that as well, because that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, where was Mafia Guido?
The 4-torch room with the spinning fire rod.
Okay, so basically right behind me then. And that's
Yeah.
about what I expected. I found flippers so late.
Oh, you both found flippers very late.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
It was really weird. I pathed all of that seed very, very peculiarly for me. And so it left me feeling very confused for a large part of the run. And that coupled with like deaths and the trolliest Zora thing of all time just left me feeling so far behind. I was watching for the dot done from like 145 or 140 because I figured if someone went early Skull Woods and just checked, which is like, a V26 thing to do,
Yeah, neither of you actually did that.
that Mafia would have had flippers for 40 minutes instead of, or at least that roughly, just before I did, and would have just been way ahead, would have been able to do swamp on the first pass, wouldn't have had to do a lot of the overworld stuff that I had kind of got myself caught up in. So
Oh, I have that habit of getting caught up in overworld stuff myself, trying to break it, but it's such a hard habit to break.
yeah, I didn't want to, and I was happy with where I was going in the early game, and like I got up to Death Mountain early and found the Moon Pearl early, which I was happy with. But that left me with all of the South Hyrule and Escape stuff, and then all of the stuff over at Sahasrara. And so I was really happy to see a sword in Sahasrara's closet there when I was on my way over to Pod. That was nice. I was happy to pick that up, and I was glad to be able to double those things up. I was happy with some of the things I was able to route in, but then there were a bunch of loose ends and things that just didn't come together. And when I was like, okay, well, let's save and quit back to the house again, all I could think was, this is just such a routing disaster. So I'm interested to see how on the replay you did with commentating that mess. It was fun.
It certainly was, and when you turned for Turtle Rock before Meyer, Guido was right behind you heading into Meyer. Laser Bridge tied him up quite a bit during that time. He was dealing with that. You were finishing off Vitreous, and I could see that start to turn things into what was heading towards a very interesting finish. And it did not disappoint except for the controller break.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. A, because hardware failure always sucks, and B, because you always, want everyone to be able to finish up the race. That's just really unfortunate. I don't know, how else to put it. I'm checking my stats now, so bonks are coming up. There were a lot of them.
Oh, I think my first rando seed I had something like 100-something bonks, so you definitely did better than me in that regard.
Yeah, I got the under on the 100 for sure. But oh, that menu time was painful.
Yeah,
I
I've got to
spent
work on that.
I spent a lot of time just like confused in my menu. I like paused in the middle of pod in the dark room, tracked Quake, and then like sat there for 4 seconds. Just with my menu paused. But yeah, the pod deaths, that 3-minute turtle room, there were so many things that just didn't go as I wanted to see them go, that's for sure. But happy to still be alive in the tournament. I think the way Group T is looking, this should lock me up for a playoff, because, or maybe not.
It'll
But
have you at 2-1, tied with I Have No Name in that regard. Guido is
yeah,
at 1-2, and the only one of you guys that doesn't have a match left is Sailor Jade
Yep.
at 2-2. You definitely still have a chance at having a playoff of some kind.
yeah, there will probably be a playoff of some kind. There's 2 matches left to be played. I have to play against Tater, and I Have No Name has to play against Mafia Guido. And so there's still the potential for, if I lose my last one and Mafia Guido wins, there could be a 5-way tie still.
Ooh.
And that would be extremely interesting. But even so, there's a very good probability of there being a tiebreaker race in your group as well.
Yeah, I think there's, unless I win and I Have No Name wins. So unless both of those things happen and we both end up 3-1, we're guaranteed to have some sort of playoff, I think, at this point, if I'm remembering the status of the group right.
I think you might be right, because I'm looking at it in front of me right now. It hasn't been updated with the most recent match result, but it would appear that that would be the only way that a tiebreaker situation would be avoided.
Well, Maniacal, do you have any final thoughts on that seed?
No, it was peculiar, but I think I haven't been able to practice much. I've been super busy with work the past 2 weeks, really, maybe even a little more than that. And so I just, it's possible that it was actually a really straightforward seed, and I just wasn't reading the texture of the seed correctly. But I'm going to be really interested to watch that back and see what decisions Mafia Guido and I made kind of in each sphere of the logic, and see how it shook out. Thank you so much, Little Gabes and Leslie Pro, for the commentary. I think it's Flaffy was on tracking, and then S Diesel did the restream, and I want to definitely be sure to thank all of you for helping to make sure that this race got to be rebroadcast.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for letting us commentate, restream, do all that fun stuff for you guys.
Absolutely, this was a lot of fun to watch and commentate.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and I guess thank you also, chat. I haven't pulled up the chat, but appreciate you guys hanging out as well. And I am going to duck out and let you guys close out the stream. And GG to Mafia Guido. Sorry that he had a hardware problem there at the end. I'm going to have to hop over in the Discord and kind of see what's going on there.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. But with that being said, I guess we're going to bring this race to a close. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And be sure to check out the other speed gaming channels and the other Randomizer Mania channels if you want to see more Randomizer. Have a good evening, everyone. I'm Little Gabes, and I'm joined here by
Leslie Pro 4. Thank you all for watching, and there will be more races restreamed tomorrow throughout Randomizer Mania, as well as Speed Gaming. And I also have a race tomorrow night as well. And thank you all for watching, and have a good night.
Good night, everyone.